Hello, Earth Angels, and welcome back to another episode of Alignment Academy. It is your host, Kristen, and if you're new here, I am a corporate dropout turned spiritual mentor, mindset coach, and I'm really passionate about helping you step into your purpose and heal what's holding you back so that you can live your biggest and most free life, because I truly believe that we're not here to sit at cubes. We're not here to be unfulfilled. We're here to just be as happy and free as possible. So that's a little bit about me. I have been on this journey since I was 17 years old, but I've had this business particularly for almost 5 years now. So been here for quite a while. Recently though, my biggest passions are this podcast and my membership, Alignment Academy podcast, and there's Alignment Academy, the membership. And today is a special day because I thought, I want to show you guys how much fun we have inside of Alignment Academy. Q&As are some of my favorite things because I feel like we touch on a lot of not only different topics, but I'm able to just kind of channel and flow and answer questions really just like naturally, and they're really good questions too. And so every single month in the membership, we have 3 calls for sure, usually 4, but we have a co-working session, we have a live Q&A coaching call, we have a live meditation. We also sometimes have a masterclass. The Q&As are just so fun. Everyone comes, we all connect as a community, we ask questions, I answer them, and it's just a good freaking time. And so if you've been considering joining the membership, or you just are here and you're like, I want to learn about following your purpose and healing and business, all the things that we talk about in Alignment Academy, this is going to be a great episode for you. I'm just going to share some clips from inside of the membership from one of our Q&A calls. It was a call where we just covered so many things and it was so good, and I just really had a good time. So I said, why not? Why the frick not? So that's kind of what we're doing today. Other than that, I have just been really loving the fall crisp mornings. I've been back on my cacao kick. If you guys have followed me for a couple of years now, like 2 years ago, I was drinking my cup of cacao every single morning. And now it's kind of a bad thing because I drink a cup of coffee and a cup of cacao. Oopsie. But it's just so good because like the mornings are cold and I'm cozy in my bedroom and my desk, and I just get my candle lit and I get my cacao and I write my to-do list in the morning, and I'm just like fully soaking up the fall feeling. So that's kind of just what I've been loving at home. I also never told you guys this, but I switched to like a completely whole foods diet pretty much overnight, like no processed foods, pretty high protein, eggs, meat, some potatoes, fruit, but I did cut out grains, rice, dairy. However, I did eat oatmeal this morning. I've been doing it for a month, and I actually was getting a little bit like really tired during the day, and I think it might have been because I was like not eating enough carbs during the day. So I did eat oatmeal this morning and it felt really good in my body. So I'll probably add oats back in. But overall, I just like cut out all refined sugar, and I feel so much better, guys. Like I feel like I was like so inflamed, and I was like just like not feeling good when I woke up. And I don't know. I feel like there's seasons to how we eat, and I've been, vegan for 4 years. I've been Mediterranean diet before. I've counted macros. I've kind of been through it all. I'm an ED girly, so I've really been through it all. But eating whole foods and just high quality foods, only natural sugars, dates, maple syrup, honey, has been really, really good for me in this season. So that's kind of my update. I don't know. I feel like I try to keep you guys up to date on all the things, but those are like the biggest things that I probably would say. I am getting excited for the holidays, like Christmas and Thanksgiving. I'm never really super excited for them, but I feel like weirdly, I really am. I'm like ready to, I don't know, have a Christmas tree or something. I don't know where I'm going to put it. My apartment is so small now, but we're going to find a place for it. So anyway, yeah, that's me. That's updates. I hope you guys get a lot out of this call, and I would love to see you in the membership for next month of calls. We have a live schedule every first of the month. I update the schedule. You guys add all the calls to your calendar, and everyone in there is like in a very similar place. They're ready to heal their trauma. They're ready to play big, and they're ready to do the damn thing. Start taking action, stop procrastinating, and just really go all in on their mission and their life. And so if you're feeling the call, girl, nothing changes if nothing changes. It's a really affordable place to be. Think about it like a gym for your soul. Think about it as your spiritual gym. That's what one of my clients told me. She was like, I was talking to my therapist about joining, and I said it was a spiritual gym, and she was like, why wouldn't you invest in this? It seems like it's great. And there's just so much good resources in it. There's 8 master classes, 7 of my best-selling meditations, 3 to 4 live calls a month. I mean, like, for $77, biggest bang for your buck. So can't recommend it enough. I love it so, so much. And here's a little clip from the call. So without further ado, enjoy. Talk soon.
All right. So our first question is from Sarah. She says, how would you suggest getting organized to start coaching? I know messy action is better than no action, but as someone who's already done it, do you have a list of things you must have in place before you take that leap?
I mean, honestly, this is a question that I feel like people don't like to hear, but the way that you get started is by you start. You literally create an Instagram and decide who you want to coach. So I guess that I would say the first thing to do would be really getting clear on who you want to help. I do have a niche training that is highly discounted inside of the portal if you want to start getting clear on like your niche and content pillars. But like honestly, when I started my business, it was kind of insane. Like I literally was just like, it was during COVID. I was like, I want to be a coach. And then I was like, okay, so I'm going to make this account. And then I would practice posting on this empty account just so it was filled when I would start like putting things in, or when I started like promoting it, like it was kind of like the grid was filled. So I would say if you're starting at ground zero and you don't know where to start, like, let me like Virgo my moon, or let me have a Virgo moon real quick and give you guys like some tangible tools. Is decide what account you want to use, get clear on who you want to help, and then practice making content. Like that would be my ground one of how to start being a coach. And then there might be more things like take a course or take something to further your skills. Then that's kind of what you would probably want to do next, is look for that course or look for that training or whatever. So yeah, that's
Beautiful answer. I love your Virgo moon. It's helped me in so many ways. Our next question is from Maggie. She's talking about inner child work. She says, a behavior I notice in myself is wanting to apologize or fix a situation, even if it's not necessarily my fault, but I'm willing to take the L in order for peace. Would that behavior fall under people pleasing or avoiding conflict, or both?
Probably both, but you would want to use the root of it through inner child work. So I would ask myself and journal on like, when was the first time that I learned that like other people's peace is kind of more important than mine? Or like, when was the first time I learned that other people need to, like, I need to make sure other people are less uncomfortable than I am? Because there's probably just a time, and this is the tricky thing about inner child work. It's like sometimes nobody told you that, but it was like shown to you. Or sometimes you might have had a experience where it could have even been small. Like you were sick and then your mom's like, it's your sister's birthday, you need to get up. You know what I mean? So it like can be in small moments. It doesn't always have to be like these big, big things, but overall, just like I would look into your childhood and see where those themes came up around like putting other people's needs before your own, or maybe even your mom is a huge people pleaser. Like that happened to me. My mom's a huge people pleaser, and like she never told me to people please, but I just picked up on her on what she was doing.
Love that. Thanks.
Hey,
Hi,
Queen.
hello everybody. Hi, I'm new here. My name is Fernanda. I'm super excited for this Zoom.
Yay.
But my question is, I'm working with like my elevator pitch, like marketing my
Okay.
course, and I know that I have to speak to the pain points, but I'm such a softie, like I want to do that without hurting feelings.
Mm. So honestly, let's get a bit too straight. It's people pleasing. Like you don't want to hurt people's feelings, but the truth is that speaking to people's pain is not only what gets them to move, it helps them identify what's wrong as well. So by avoiding pain, you're actually not helping anyone. So number one, we need to do a little bit of people pleasing work like on the internal world. So let's do internal, external action items, right? Number one, I want you to get clear using the inner child questions. Where is this coming from? Like, why do I feel like I can't hurt people's feelings? That's going to be
Hmm.
number one. Do you have anything
Okay.
in mind? Like, do you know that you're a people pleaser?
Yeah, 100% codependent. Dad's an alcoholic, raised by a depressive mom. Like I
Oh,
am the epitome. I'm so good at codependency. I was a personal assistant for a very high level music producer for a long time.
oh,
I made it a career.
wow.
So
That's amazing.
it's my jam. But definitely as a kid, I was bullied a lot, made fun of by everybody. So it's like just be quiet and be very nice and don't hurt feelings and you'll manage.
Yeah. So, first of all, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that, but I also know that you didn't go through that for nothing. Like, there's a reason that you're here doing what you're doing right now. And so,
Yeah.
I want you to turn that purpose or that pain into purpose and use it as fuel of like, I'm not wasting this shit. I'm not wasting my trauma, right? So that's the
Hmm.
first thing. So kind of like getting to the root of that and realizing that your guys' business is here to essentially like trigger you into ascension. I mean,
Hmm.
in order for you to be successful at this, like you have to overcome your people pleasing, right? There's no option. There's no other option here. You can't
Yeah.
like stay small and reach your potential. And I really want you guys to hear that again. Like, can you stay small and reach your potential? Probably fucking not, you know?
Hmm.
And so that's going to be the first thing is the inner work. And then externally, with the pain points, it's interesting. I love talking about pain points because the funny thing about pain points is even these coaches that are trying to pitch you, I'm going to teach you to sell without using pain points, are using a fucking pain point. Ever think of that? You know what I mean? Like it's all pain points.
Hmm.
And so, really, what you want to do is reframe it in your mind as I'm not hurting people's feelings. I'm helping them identify the problem so that they can get what they want. Right. I love selling and I sell on my stories all the time because genuinely, I do believe that I can help you. Like,
Hmm.
truly. And so that can be another part of the inner work. If you're having resistance to selling, if you're having resistance to promoting your work, maybe there's a deeper thing under there of like maybe you don't actually believe that you can help them and that's why you're unconsciously not feeling safe enough to just keep on selling. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hmm.
Is that
Yeah.
relevant? Does that help at all?
Yeah, it does definitely. It even goes into like my friend always tells me like you have an amazing life. You need to show people that. And I'm like, but I don't want to rub it in people's face that I'm so blessed. I feel
Yeah.
bad.
Why and why are you okay, this is actually like I feel like a really good teaching moment too because a lot of times with people pleasing, we really are feeling responsible for other people's feelings. And the truth is that like if something makes other people uncomfortable, like that is their work and your work is just to be you. And especially in the online space, guys, when you have a big like open heart, you have a big light and you're helping a lot of people, it triggers people that are not being big. It triggers people that are staying small. And your only work is to hold the pose, is to hold the frequency and be that beacon of light where they can see the people that are ready. If I can have this, you can fucking have this too.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
That's the goal. It's like I've been where they're at. Like I've been in the worst of the worst. I get it. And now I'm in the best of the best. So it's all a blueprint. I tell people that like everything that happened to you is a blueprint and it's for you or to you. So, but being able to like, yeah, you're right. Ditch the people pleasing and we gotta get uncomfortable.
And do it little by little, right? Maybe you don't go and like make a really activating post that's going to put your nervous system in overload. Maybe you make like a slightly controversial post today. And then in three
Mm,
days, you make another one. And then next week, you make a little more. And it can be this like buildup of like fire that you don't have to like go out and just make your nervous system be shot, but you can build up to it, right? I'm really, really big in like not going 0 to 100, like going 0 to 25, then 0 to 50, then 0 to 75, and then 0 to 100, right? Like let's build up the nervous system capacity to hold the people that might be like, I fucking disagree with you, and that would be triggering, right? And also
yeah,
know that you can handle that.
100%. I love that.
Cool.
Scalable little situations. I'm here for it.
Cool.
So
Thank you so
powerful.
much.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks, Fernanda. Our
You're
next
welcome.
question is from Lisa. She says, how do you keep your energy high and full of faith, even though in your reality, aka your business results, are not there yet? I changed my niche in business a few months ago, and the results are not where I hoped them to be yet. I'd love to hear your tips and advice.
Well, I think that this is just all that life is, guys. It's just mastering the in between. That's it. Is like, if you can't really believe in yourself before it happens, do you really believe in yourself? And so the real work is actually just every time you're having that doubt, there's something there for you to transmute. Right. And I get it that like sometimes we have so much things in our external reality telling us that it's not working. Like maybe you've been promoting this offer or you've been on Instagram for a while and you're like, why isn't it working yet? Like why are things not unfolding? But sometimes what the universe is doing is it's actually giving you the exact frequency of tests or like gauges of like self-worth that it needs for it to actually give you the thing that you want. So I know this is kind of confusing. So let me kind of give you an explanation. So when I first started my business, what happened was I was promoting this offer for like a couple months and no one was buying, no one was even booking calls, like nobody was like biting any bait. And during that time, I was really triggered. Like I was crying sometimes. I was like going, okay, maybe I should do this offer. Okay, maybe I should do this offer. Like I was just like everywhere. I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know what I was doing. Like there was so much going on internally, and I did so much inner work. And then I during that time I also had people like making fun of me, and I had to do inner work on that. And it wasn't until like 3 months of me consistently believing in myself and posting 5 times a week and doing all the things that I knew that I actually felt like I was the person that people would actually want to hire, right? So it was like my own belief in myself by taking consistent action when it was not working actually made me the person that people were going to hire. And so I really think that those times when it's not working are defining moments where we have to dig deep. And this is also why I love the tool of inner child work. It's like you can close your eye, you can feel so unworthy, and then what happens is you close your eyes and you journey inward and you do a little bit of work with your inner child and you open your eyes and then you feel worthy, but nothing externally has changed. But what has changed? You, right? And so this is kind of your opportunity for like, you go first. The universe can't just give you the thing and then you feel worthy of it. You have to feel worthy of it, and then the universe gives you the thing. So yeah.
Ooh, powerful. Okay, our next question is from Lisa. It's a fear of being canceled. I have this fear of being canceled when I'm going to be super present on TikTok. Rationally, I know that if someone or as a larger group disagrees with what I say, it's about them, not me. I know that there is no evidence for me getting canceled, but I can't seem to get it out of my mind. How do I release this fear?
Fear of being canceled is like fear of dislike, fear of judgment, which really just roots to being shamed for you. So it is an inner child wound. So, first, internally, I would say like you have to do work around validating your inner child to believe that she is good, she is loved, she is safe, even if other people don't like her. And then, secondly, this is maybe not going to be what you want to hear, but like the way that I really deal with this kind of stuff is like preparing for the worst. Your only real job here is to accept that people are going to dislike you. People might try to cancel you, but like also what does that mean? Like nobody really can get canceled these, you know what I mean? Like things are so in flux and so in shift. I'm like, it's impossible. People can only cancel me if I choose to be canceled in my brain, right? And so when I help people overcome the fear of being seen, what it really is about is actually just accepting that you are going to be judged. That's it. And so your job is not really to overcome the fear of being canceled. It's to accept that that is a reality that might happen, but you would be able to handle it because you know who you are. And that actually comes from validating your inner child, from being okay with like your shadow aspects, being like, I'm okay if people don't like me. I'm okay if people think I'm cringe. I'm okay if people think that I'm fucking weird. Like you have to normalize and take the charge away from that so that in the event that it does happen, yeah, it might be triggering in the moment, but it's not like revalidating your deepest wound, which like would be that you are a loser or that you are not good enough, right? Because if someone says that you're not good enough, but you actually believe that you're good enough, it doesn't really matter to you. But if someone says that you're not good enough, but you don't believe that you're good enough, now your deepest fear of not being good enough is manifesting, and that's going to hurt so bad. And so that's why when people have those deep inner wounds of I'm not good enough, they will literally sabotage doing anything that would validate that experience so that that core wound isn't true. Does that make sense?
Totally. I love that. No one's canceling me if I'm not canceled.
No, I can't get canceled. Like I don't accept that in my reality.
Absolutely. We'll take our next chat question from Lisa.
Hi, yes, this was actually my question. I'm sweating over here from that answer, but um, I have a question about something you said about validating my inner child. Do I do that, start doing that through meditation, or do I do the shadow work? Like, what is a to-go-to method I can start with?
So I would go to the inner child meditation and I would take this fear of being canceled through the journal questions. So, how do you feel when you think about getting canceled? I feel anxious. I feel like I want to avoid my business. I feel triggered, like whatever you're feeling, you're going to write it. Okay, when was the first time I feel it? Like just literally go through the questions and find the root of you being judged for your authentic self, because that could be the root of fear of being canceled. After that, you're going to go into the meditation and you're going to rewrite and give your inner child what she needed but never got. So, was there a time in childhood that's even coming to mind right now where you felt like you were shamed for being yourself, or you were made fun of, or you were embarrassed, you were bullied?
Oh, yes, so many times. I was bullied heavily as a child, so I
Mm.
was always very goofy and funky and loud, and I was always told to be quiet and not be so weird. So there are a lot of times where I was shamed for being myself.
I'm so sorry, first of all. Like, I totally understand why you would have this fear of being canceled, because as a child, that probably hurt a lot, right? Of like getting bullied, and you were just being innocent. You were just being you. And so, that when you were a child, if you can kind of like talk to that version of yourself, like, what do you think she needed so that she could actually celebrate her goofiness and her uniqueness? Like, what would have made her feel really good?
By just having people that accept it and just not telling her to quiet down, because that was really annoying.
There you go. There you go.
Okay,
That's what
thank
she
you.
needed. Yeah. So that's what you'll do in the inner child meditation.
Okay.
I love that question, Lisa. That was awesome. Thanks. Our next question is from Kirsten. She says, where to start when growing an audience?
So this is a good question. In my coaching programs, I teach you guys how to grow in two ways. One is by letting Instagram do its thing. So reels are a great way to grow, right? I actually really love like these quick reels for growth. You use longer form reels for building trust. Okay. So like I'm just gonna pull up my Instagram real quick and show you guys so you can see, because I know there's a lot of coaches on here that want to grow. You want to use the 3 to 5 second reels as more like reach reels. And then you want to use longer form reels to build trust with your audience, right? So I see some people who realize that like, oh, I can grow my audience a lot if I just do these 3 second reels. But what happens is like none of those people are going to buy from them because they don't actually trust those people. So if I'm just like showing my screen, like this would be an example of a really short reel that's going to like have a lot of reach, right? It's like 3 or 4 seconds, but it's just like giving something inspirational. And a lot of people are going to like be like, oh, I like that Kristen saying that. They might follow me or whatever, right? It's like kind of more reach. And you can even see here, it's like it's higher reach. Whereas something like it might get lower views, but I'm okay with that because people are going to actually build trust from watching this and like getting the value out of that. So, those are going to be two ways that you're going to grow. And then the other one that I teach in my programs, because the thing about reels and stuff is it's very out of your hands, like it's out of your control. And I also like to have things that are in your control, is using engagement methods. So, honestly, if you go to, it's like called the $80 method. Gary Vee teaches it. I teach it, but I learned it from Gary Vee. And basically, you go to accounts that have the same niche as you and you engage with the people that are engaging on that page, right? So it would really literally like look like me going to a page that has a similar following as me. I'd usually try to use a pretty big page. You can also use like podcast pages, and I would go see who's like commenting on the posts, and I would just I call it tapping them on the shoulder. I would just like go like a few of their posts and maybe like leave a comment or something. What it does is people are like, oh, who's this person that just like liked my photo, right? And then they're going to go look at your profile, and then if you have what they want, they might follow you. Now, my clients that do this, like I have them do this like 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week. And this is if they're not growing organically using reels and stuff. They'll grow like 20, 30 people a week, which is better than nothing. And I know it's pretty manual and it's time intensive, but it actually builds so much trust. And then the next step after that would be really to like engage with that person once they follow you back and or follow you. Maybe you don't follow them, but like ask them like, thank you so much for following me. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Kristen. Like if you have anything that you need, like let me know and I'd love to answer any questions. I still DM people to this day. Like I DM people and like welcome them into my community. I welcome them into my Instagram. Like building relationships online is one of the easiest ways to get clients. So really focusing on those two things for growing your audience. Because even when you grow your audience, you need to go a step further and like make those people clients, right? So, and you guys can ask questions too. I know there's like not a lot of hand raises, but you guys are here. So ask some questions.
Actually, Lana has a question. So Lana will call on you next.
Hey, Kristen. Hey, I
Hey,
just want
girl.
to say you're doing like God's work.
Oh.
I've been doing from the fear of being seen meditations like religiously for a few months. I scare myself how much power I have.
Fuck yeah, girl.
Like the
I know.
shit that I post, I was like, did I just say what I said? Like, oh my God. And the people are engaging so much more, and people are like, what the fuck? You know, it's so
You've been putting in the work for a while. I remember when you enrolled in Scared to Seen. I'm so proud of you.
Yes, and it's really changing so much. So thank you. Yes, and I'm
welcome.
not stopping,
Hell
obviously.
yeah.
So my question is this. A lot of my content is pretty sexy, and which is fine because you know, that's part of like I do Skype sessions, I have an OnlyFans and stuff, and I also do coaching for men and I want to do women. So the trigger that I also have that I see over and over, like I need people to be respectful, and my audiences are all men, are very respectful. And I also have a massage business. So I'm very like my boundaries are very strong. I'm very clear. Like I'm not, I don't people please with them at all. But there's like that 10% that try to sexualize, and it just triggers me so much. I become so angry. I just want to destroy them. And I become so mean to them. It's like I just want to, I don't know, I have this like, I don't just block. I'll comment back with something that will make them feel so small, or I'll say privately something, you know, that they have to apologize or whatever. Like I will be a bully to them, and I know it's my own issue because it triggers me.
So why are you so angry? Because they're disrespecting you?
Yes,
When
I
was
think
the
it's
first time?
disrespect.
When was the first time you got disrespected and you felt like you had no voice?
I think when I was like 7, 8, I guess, when I was growing up in Russia, and like the local boys would like grab girls' crotches or whatever. And that was just like a normal fucking thing. And nobody would do anything. And I just felt so powerless and helpless. And I guess now I'm always, when it comes to men, that's why I coach men. That's what, like, all my clients are men, and I'm in 100% power. Like if I don't feel power, it's like my way or no way. So
So
there's
do you
no
see the
room.
reflection here, Lana, of what happened when you were 7 and what's happening now? And it's just like re-triggering that wound.
Yeah, definitely. And I've tried to work on this for so long. I think I've done a meditation, the inner child meditation on that, on especially that event, but it still feels pretty
There's
fucking
more
true.
work to do. Yeah, this is a really great learning lesson, guys, because inner child is like usually not one and done. Usually these are pretty deep wounds that need a couple ways of rewriting. And not only that, you need a couple ways of rewriting. And like you might go down and like be like, okay, maybe in this setting, I needed like my dad to stick up for me and like shoo those little boys away, right? And then maybe like that actually doesn't hit. And then the next day you go back and you're like, oh no, I actually needed my mom to go and give like put those boys in place, and then those boys get in trouble, and then maybe that works better, and then maybe you have to rewrite that one more time. And I always remind my girls that I work with like more closely, I'm like, this is a skill. You get better at learning what your inner child needed because you get better at like navigating the scene underneath of like the subconscious, if that makes sense. And so
Totally.
Lana, what I'm hearing is that there's just still more work to do. It's nothing's wrong, nothing's bad. One of my biggest like things that I'm really integrating within my client sessions right now is letting life be your guru. This is like what Yogananda said, is like every day is your guru. Every day you have to look at what's disturbing you. And instead of dealing with the external world and saying, how can I change the external world so I'm not disturbed? What we're doing with inner child work is we're like, how can I actually change my internal landscape so whatever's going on out here can no longer disturb me? How fucking powerful is that, guys? When you can just let life move through you and nothing disturbs you anymore. You know, you're like, I don't care what happens because I can just change my thoughts about it and I'm good. So, Lana, I would really love for you to do at least 2 to 3 meditations on that specific memory until you feel that energetic shift with it, and then come back to me and let me know how it goes.
Okay. And also, there's another trigger. It's also with men. Like anytime I was like, oh, let me see what triggers are still there. I go on a dating app, right? To see like what idiot says something that triggers me. And anytime if there's a guy that like assumes anything, like for example, oh, like do you come out in like I'm in Manhattan Beach and let's say he's in LA. He's like, oh, do you come out in LA? And right away, my trigger is like, who the fuck do you think you are? You think I'm going to fucking drive for you? I get picked up. I was like, what does that have to do anything? Like, I want him to say so that I can just beat him to the, like, and teach him a fucking lesson. And I know it triggers me. And I know, like, I have so much pleasure doing that. Like, I feel my hordes are coming out when I'm like, you know, I'm looking for these things because I know now I can be this wise ass and a smart ass and say things to make him feel stupid. But then I'm like, fuck, but it's like my trigger, you know, it's making me crazy.
Yeah, guys. So this is Lana, I know this is your trigger, but I'm sure a lot of people sometimes feel angry when they're triggered. One of my favorite teachings around anger is that remembering that anger is always like a secondary emotion. It's not a primary emotion. So there's always something beneath the anger that is
Like
a need
fear.
that's not being met. So my favorite quote, and I want you to just take this and run with it and journal on it today, is sit with your anger until it tells you who it really is. Is it
Oh.
hurt? Is it sadness? Is it disrespect? It's never anger.
It's never anger. Yeah, anger is the cover.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lana.
Thank you
great
so
question.
much. Okay, thank you.
Great answer. I love the Yogananda reference. Next up, we'll take Adrian and then we'll go back to the forum before coming back here.
Hey.
Hi.
Okay, so my question is really about like tangible actions that you
Do
take. I am definitely a very structured person. Like I do routines and I like routines and I like having routines. And in my past career, it has been like clients have really ruled my life. And so now with a bunch of freedom, I'm kind of a little bit lost and like meandering. And I don't really know, like when you were first starting out, Kristen, because I'm sure right now you definitely are like, you've
Sure.
have clients and you've got all these other things going on. But like when you were starting out, did you have structure around your schedule? Were you like 30 minutes?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you suggest as like maybe like a baseline schedule for somebody first starting out?
This is such a good question. I love this question. Okay. So you're starting out. Let's pretend you have either not a lot of clients or some clients and you want more, right? Is that what like you're and we're talking about your coaching business, right, Adrian?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've got 4 clients and I would love to have like 4 to 8 more. So
Slay. Okay. So the first thing we're going to want to do, let me see how I want to break this up in my mind. Okay, let's do social media actions. Let's do weekly social media actions first. If you are wanting to go full time in your coaching business, you should be showing up at the very least 4 to 5 times a week. I was showing up 7 for 2 years straight, but 4 to 5 times a week. This is because this is a business. If you were to start a bakery or a boutique, like you own a brick and mortar, Adrian, like can you just go in 2 days a week and expect it to pay you full time? No. So 4 to 5 times a week, you should be posting, giving value, like literally anything. You don't have to be giving value 5 times a week, but you should be being present, posting in your feed 5 times a week. Okay. So let's start with that. That should be weekly action item number 1. Weekly action item number 2, stories, right? You should be stories. What's the purpose of stories? behind the scenes, to sell, to build more trust, to get people to like you. Stories are big where you can get people to like you and fuck with your energy and fuck with your lifestyle and show them all the beautiful things about your lifestyle, right? Because let's be honest, like you're not buying if you're buying one of my courses, like you're like I could be selling Alignment Mastery and like Madeline could be selling Alignment Mastery, same fucking program, but they're buying the person. They're buying Kristen's Alignment Mastery. They're buying Madeline's Alignment Mastery. It doesn't matter what's the program, they're buying you. So you really want to show up 5 days a week again on stories. And so of those 5 days a week, 2 of those days a week, you should be doing mini trainings. Okay. So do you guys know when I get on my stories and I'm like, if you're struggling with people pleasing, one small little shift in your mindset that you could have is remembering that people are allowed to be uncomfortable. That is like a little mini training that's like showing people that I know what I'm talking about and I'm really giving them value. And they're like, okay, if this is her free content, what's in her paid content? You know what I mean? So 2 of those 5 days a week, you guys should be getting on your stories and doing mini trainings. You can do them formally, like, okay, guys, we're going to do a mini training right now. Today, we're talking about XYZ. I used to do them pretty formal. If you go back into my archives, like of mini trainings on my Instagram, like you could see those more formal mini trainings. But now I do them pretty lax. I'm like walking Teddy. I'm like, honestly, y'all, if you want to stop overthinking, like do this. You know, I do them pretty like lax now. So you can kind of find your style with that. So those are going to be the first 2. And then if you have an offer, I would say 2 to 3 of those days on stories and in your feed, you're selling your offers like at the end, right? This doesn't have to be like hard selling. It could just be like mentioning at the end of your stuff or being like, honestly, if you're struggling with people pleasing and you really want to start healing your inner child, Alignment Mastery, the membership is the perfect place for you to get inside where you can ask me questions. You'll have all the resources and it's so cheap. It's $77, whatever, you know, like just kind of like soft selling after you're giving value. For writing this down, you know, in feed 5 times, stories 2 times on stories, soft selling 2 times on stories, mini training. And then one of the biggest things that I do not want you guys to overlook is going to be relationship building online. Relationship building. People who know you buy from you. People who like you buy from you. If you are wanting to get more clients and you're like, I'm posting every day and like, you know, nobody's buying and stuff. Like, I want you to really fucking ask yourself, like, are you talking to people online? Like, do people actually know you? Do people think that you're there for them? Like, do people trust you? I still DM literally every single day. Like, I just say hi to somebody. I answer them. If they're in my DMs, like, I loved your podcast. I'm like, thank you. What did you like about it? Or thank you. Do you have any other things that you are working on that you want me to make you a podcast about? I'm never like just like hearting it. You know, I'm always like trying to continue the conversation. And even if you look in here, most of you guys know me. Like, you know me from a different program or you know me from a retreat or you know me somehow, right? And so it's like we've talked in the DMs typically. So DMing people, if you can start with 5 DMs a day, you can start with, if you really want to go for it, like 10 DMs a day, because you have to remember like probably only 1/3 of people will reply to those DMs. So that's okay too. You want to just kind of like get the numbers up. I feel like that's the biggest things I would be doing. I would be promoting my work. I'd be posting consistently. I would be creating relationships. And honestly, if you're doing that, it's going to take care of itself.
Yeah.
Is this
And
helpful?
very helpful, definitely. When you are creating your content, are you sitting down and like saying, okay, for the next hour, I'm just going to write? Are you like writing an email blast and then taking that apart and making content out of that? Or because I know your emails do sometimes relate to your content.
So how I make my content is actually, and I recommend this for everyone. Like this is just my process, but you guys obviously have to find your own process. I create a couple pieces of content every single day, all on TikTok. All on TikTok. I just probably like if you guys follow me on TikTok, I don't know who does here, but like you guys know me. I post a lot on TikTok, probably like 3 times on a good week, like 3 times a day, 4 times a week. So then I have a ton of content. And guess what? TikTok, since I've been posting for 2 years on it, knows who my niche is and it gets to test the content for me. So TikTok tells me, oh, this is a really good piece of content because it performed well. And so I take the really good pieces of content from TikTok and I bring them over to Instagram. Not always. Sometimes piece of content doesn't perform well on TikTok, but I fuck with the piece of content, so I will bring it over to Instagram still. But for the most part, I'm just making a ton of content on TikTok, taking the best performing content, pulling it into Instagram, and then it basically always performs well because I already tested it out with my niche on TikTok. And that's why I love the TikTok algorithm, because it is not based on stupid fucking rules that Instagram has. Like, I don't even know the Instagram algorithm. It is literally like, if you have 0 followers, but it's a good piece of content, it's going to go viral. And so it's really testing it with like every niche. And so that's how I have my content thing. And so typically I'm never like, if you see me posting a reel, it's typically never like a day of reel. It's typically a reel from a TikTok the week before, and I'm bringing it over. So I batch again, usually 3 times a day. Like, even if you guys look at my to-do list right here, I have a journal to-do list, and it's like 3 TikToks right here, because every day I just try to like make 3 pieces of content. And this is also so good for you guys if you're getting used to being in front of the camera. I was just talking to a one-on-one client about this today. I said, imagine if you're just using Instagram and you're maybe posting 5 times a week versus we're using TikTok, we're posting 3 times a day, 5 times a week. So you have 5 reps versus 15 reps. How much better are you going to be at content? You're going to be so much better in 1 month because you just put 15 reps 4 times, right? Like, that's so many more reps than like maybe 4 times a week on Instagram. So I highly recommend using TikTok, because also TikTok brings a lot of people over to my Instagram, and like TikTok is the thing that you guys have the TikTok masterclass, like go through it when you can. Like, I use it as a funnel to go into Instagram, and then they build trust with my podcast, with my Instagram, with my stories, and then they typically buy from me. So it's like a progression.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Super helpful.
I am quickly interrupting this episode to remind you guys that if you're a listener, which clearly you are, I have created a free meditation for all of you. This meditation was built out of my rock bottom when I needed to trust the universe and release a lot of anxiety I was feeling, and I didn't know how. So I learned how to trust the universe, and I'm going to teach you how in this meditation. It's really practicing this feeling of being held and supported, and remembering that you actually are held and supported by the universe in every single moment. All you have to do to get this meditation is to rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on, and then go ahead and head over to my podcast Instagram at Alignment Academy Podcast, give it a follow, and then message me on there with a screenshot of your rating or review, whatever platform you're listening on, and I will send you the meditation. Okay, now back to the episode.
Allie, be next.
Hello. So I feel like a lot of times when I like sit down to do like a meditation or journal prompts or something, like I just like put up this wall, and like it prevents me from like going deeper and like feeling and like getting to the root. And I don't know if it's like because like I'm scared to feel or like scared to like work through these things, but like what are some things that I could do, I guess?
Yeah, this
Like,
is a really good question.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the question, Allie. So I would say that it's because your body is scared that it's going to hurt too much, or it's scared it's going to like open this like floodgates. Do you run a little bit avoidant by chance? Yeah,
Yeah.
I figured. So your body is just not used to feeling emotions, and it's a little bit scared of them. So what I would love for you to do, Allie, is I would love for you to practice the return to safety meditation for around a week.
Okay.
To get your body into a deeper baseline of safety. Another thing that you can do is you can listen to the meditation. Like, let's say it's the inner child meditation that you're having trouble with. You're like, every time I'm done with the heart opening, I just like dissociate, or I just like don't want to go deeper, and it's like really hard. Try like listening to it on a walk first. Try listening to it with your eyes open, or even just doing the journaling. And then like sometimes I'll have my clients do the journaling middle of the day, sit with it, and then come back at the end of the day and then go do the meditation, so their nervous system can kind of have like a few stages of, it's not so much at once, because the journaling can bring up a lot, and then you kind of go into the meditation and that can bring up a lot too. So almost just easing yourself into it. But basically what's happening is your body just doesn't feel safe to go into and feel. So you just have to increase your baseline of safety.
Okay. All right. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Khan. Am I saying your name right?
Yes. Hi.
Hi. How are you, Khan?
Hi, Kristen. Super happy to be here. So I have a question. So I'm an entrepreneur. I have a business with about 10 employees. And I invested a lot in this business, and I also borrowed a lot from my family. So I have pressure to the point where I feel like I've lost a bit the fun of what I'm doing. And I think I'm in a moment where I've listened to a lot of your podcasts about surrendering, getting in the unknown. So my question is, how can you be in the unknown when you feel like you have to deliver and people rely on you? For instance, I have to pay my employees, I have to pay back my parents. So it's very hard for me to relax and, I'm going to trust the unknown where I just have so much pressure, basically.
Yeah, this is a really, really good question because I've dealt with this too, Con. Like the pressure sometimes takes the fun out of it. Okay, this is what's coming up from you, kind of like from your spirit team, from your guides, whoever. Maybe it's your higher self. Like they're reminding you that you have to take care of you because you are the source. You are the source. The money is flowing through you that's the source of it, right? So if you're not happy, if you're miserable, that is going to be the reflection of the money that you're making or lack of money that you're making or whatever, right? And so whenever we are slaves to our business, we're putting the business in a more important, we're like putting the business above us. Does that make sense? And so honestly, what I would love for you to do, Con, is I would love for you to ask yourself, like do a little audit of your business and ask yourself, like, how can I have a little bit more fun in my day to day? I know that's just a simple question, but like, let me just give you an example for me. I was like really burned out a couple months ago. Like I was so burned out. I did like really simple things. Like I know you guys are going to be like, what the fuck? But like, I like let myself watch Netflix in the morning, like a few days a week. And honestly, it was just the biggest relief for me because I don't let myself do that. Or I would like allow myself to answer DMs, but like be watching Netflix while I'm doing that. And like it made it a little bit more fun. I also started going to the gym in the afternoon versus the morning. Little switch ups can switch your energy, can move the energy around for you to kind of feel a little bit better. And so I think that this has less to do with living in the unknown because the unknown is like more like around being present, but I think it could be being present too. It's like, how can you be more present and remember the reason like why you actually started this business in the first place and have more fun in the small moments, even while you're doing hard work. Because remember, as you have more fun, the business is going to produce better things when you're feeling good. Is this helpful?
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
Okay, good.
AM Netflix, I love it.
Yeah, I
Sarah,
was like, hi, Sarah.
Hi everyone who I know in here. Okay, so I don't exactly know what my question is, but I'm just gonna like speak about what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had this like realization that, well, first of all, actually I'll just get into it. So I've been kind of like thinking about like my niche and okay, first of all, like my audience has really warmed up. They know me. I know there's people on there who like want to work with me. People have like reached out to me. And I feel like my content's good, but I realized it's like, what am I actually, like, what kind of coach am I actually? You know what I mean? And then it's like, what's my niche? And I feel like I'm like, oh, like you can get, you can like, if you do inner child healing, you'll like be confident and you'll release self-doubt. But it's like, I don't feel like that actually is like tangible things that get people to obviously work with me. First of all, I would have to like make like I had to go on my story and tell people that I do one-on-one coaching. But I just had this like realization that I felt kind of disconnected and it felt like I didn't have clarity because it's like, what am I actually coaching? And like, who am I actually coaching? And I feel like I want to coach people like spiritual girls who want to build a like soul-led business, but I'm not a business coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did that. I literally was that.
Okay.
So it's possible.
Okay. Yeah.
So what it sounds like, let's talk about where they're starting. So girls who are spiritual girls who want to build a soul-led business are probably where? In a 9 to 5?
Yeah, a 9 to 5, or maybe they're like bartending or in a serving job, or just like, yeah.
What do they want?
Well, they want
Tangible stuff
tangible stuff. They want
to
to
start their
build
soul-led
a
business,
soul,
number
right,
one.
right. To start their soul-led business and to live a life where like they can create their life. That's the thing. It's like, okay, I'm like, create the life of your dreams. I'm like, that's not tangible, right? But it's like creating your own rules. Like for me, I'm like, I want to have my business because I want to be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want to do it,
Okay.
and travel whenever I want. And it's like pretty much it's just like this is my life and I get to create it, opposed to being like, oh, I have to work this job or I have to do this or I have to do this. And it almost feels like coming from a point where like you're the creator instead of like life happening to you or whatever. Even though life doesn't happen to you, but you know what I mean.
Sure. So basically they don't have the like why aren't they leaving the job? Because they don't have confidence? Because they don't
Yeah,
think they can do
confidence, they
it?
don't believe in themselves, self-doubt.
Clarity, they
Pretty
probably
much
have
like
a little
little versions of,
clarity. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So confidence, clarity, they want to leave their soul-sucking job and they want to live a life of freedom, right?
right.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some bones and I want you to go home and play with it, okay?
Okay.
So I literally just took what you said. I made this in 1 second. So don't judge me. But like I help girls, spiritual girls, I help corporate girlies build confidence, find clarity so they can leave their soul-sucking job so they can live a life of freedom. I feel like it's clear, it's to the point. I think that what I would love for you to work on is like this is for you if you hate your job. What else? Like make 5 bullets
Mm-hmm.
and then after we work together, you will
You will get whatever.
5 bullets.
Okay.
Get clear on that, and you're going to have so much more clarity on like what you should be talking about. Right.
Okay.
And you can also, I would
Oh,
also make a list of pain points, Sarah, of like, they are people pleasing their parents. Okay. What else? Why else are they at a soul sucking job? You don't know your authentic self. Like, just
right.
get clear on why they're even in that position so you can speak to those.
Okay.
Is this helpful?
Yes, it's helpful. And then also, I just had like a quick question about shadow work. I've heard people talk about shadow work in all different ways. So whenever we did it in Costa Rica, because I've talked to some people and they're like, oh, I don't do inner child work like this, or I don't do shadow work like this. But in Costa Rica, when we did the shadow work and I saw my little self, like it almost felt like it was like inner child because I was giving her validation. But I've heard some people say that like shadow work, it's like, if we've talked about this, like irrelevant, feeling irrelevant. I pull it out of me and it's like I see that version of me being irrelevant. And it's like being like, do I give her validation or do I just become irrelevant? I don't get it, really.
So in that case, if you're like giving her validation and it's not shifting, you
But
would have to, it is shifting.
It is shifting, but I'm just wondering if like shadow work, I did a shadow work about being irrelevant and it shifted a lot. But then I've heard people be like, well, that's not really how you are supposed to do it. Like you're supposed to like become the failure and be okay with being a failure.
Well, that just means taking the charge away from it. So
Yeah.
really that is having her be okay. If people call her irrelevant, like it's still okay, right? Because at this point, being irrelevant is not okay with her. She'll
Right.
do anything. Shadow is shame. So she'll do anything to not feel shame, right?
Right.
However, with the irrelevant, like it is taking the charge away from it. So it's not like those people are wrong. It's just like the way that you can go about that. Like there's so many ways, right? Like you could also do mirror work where you get on the phone with Aid and you're like, okay, Aid, I want you to call me irrelevant. And you guys go back and forth and you're like, I'm irrelevant. Like, Sarah, you're so
Right.
fucking irrelevant. I hate your business. Your business is so irrelevant. Like
You can do that in person.
literally having like a back and forth where it's like someone telling me that like my hair's black. Like I'm like, yeah, obviously. Like it's okay if you think that. It's like it should kind of feel very, very not charged.
Okay.
So I would work on that just a little bit more. And also when you're down there, you can ask your inner child what she needs. Like be like, what do you need in order to feel okay being irrelevant? And maybe she needs to see you being the embodiment of irrelevant, but still being okay. Does this make sense? So like
Yeah.
maybe she needs to see examples of people like being irrelevant, but like being still feeling empowered to be irrelevant. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like the thing that I would be dealing with the most right now would be like letting people down because I feel like I'm like right on the verge of getting clients, especially I'm moving into my apartment this week.
Yay! Congrats.
Thanks. So I feel like I'm like literally on the verge of it. So I think that like what has been coming up for me is like letting people down. So I guess just like going in and then just feeling like it's okay to let people down. Almost.
Well, what does letting people down mean about you?
That
What
I'm
does
not
it mean?
enough.
Okay, so there you go.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always like, what are you making it mean? It's never
Okay.
like about it, the thing. It's about what you're making the thing mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love you.
Love
I
you.
think we have time for one more question. So if
We can finish them, Madeline.
Okay, awesome. Adriana, you're next.
Okay, cool. Also, hi,
Hi.
Sarah. I wanted to wrap up like a thought I had for Sarah too,
Yeah,
that like
of course.
with coaching clients, it's not all on you either. Like it's going to
Mhm.
be on the client as well to like take those tangible steps. And so once I started like recognizing that, I was like, it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit that it's not going to be all on you. Like you're co-creating this process together. So I wanted to share that before I forgot that because I was going to text it to you. I was like, I might as well just say it while I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's like it's 50% you, 50% them. Or honestly, more them than you, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, you're just creating that container and that space for them, right? So
Giving them the tools, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so my question, it's kind of similar to Adrienne's question, in the sense of like, when do you plan out your offers? When are you launching this? Like, how do you stay organized with that? Because
Great question.
as I've been talking about, I'm getting back into like posting my offers again. I gave myself space to heal, have fun, be human, whatever. And now I'm like, okay, wait, what do I want to actually like like start
How am I making
launching
to make
or
money?
offering? Yeah, I'm like, how do I like it's like I'm starting my business all over again, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
how do you stay organized and knowing, okay, I'm going to be launching the membership or I'm going to be launching Scared to Seen or like whatever
Yeah.
you do. Yeah.
So this is such a good question. I plan I plan about 3 months at a time of my business. Sometimes if I can 4, but the thing is I change so much that even when I try to plan 6 months, it just never works that way because I'm like, actually, I don't want to do that anymore. So I would say, Aid, I would love for you to sit down and look at August, September, October and see what offers you have. And let's say like in October or August, it's like let's say you need like 3 one-on-one clients. Okay, so maybe August, all your focus is just signing 3 one-on-one clients. And then maybe I've been telling you this, but I've been seeing a membership in your field for like so long. So I really want you to open a membership. And like maybe you get everything. And while August is going down, you're working on the membership for an September launch. And like end of September, you're going to launch the membership. And maybe, October, you open up one more one-on-one spot. I don't know. But it depends what offer suites you have because like right now mine are very group based and then I have a few one-on-one here and there. But like I would just get clear on honestly sometimes you need to work backwards too. Like let's say you want to make $10,000 next month. Okay, maybe that's 3 one-on-one clients. So that's what you need to kind of work on next month and then frame it around that too. Like there's been times where I wanted to launch 2 things, but like I literally needed to make some income to launch the second thing because like the second thing was going to cost money. So I launched the first thing first so I could get some cash flow and then I could put some resources into like hiring people to help me launch the second thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, I like the way that you're framing that. And it's perfect because August is literally here. And the membership is coming. There's notes and ideas and things. And also you'll be proud. I figured out a low tier product that I'm going to launch next week.
Yay, what is it?
It's intention setting, like festival bundle, because that's like my thing, festival intention setting. So it's going to include some meditations. It's going to include a digital journal, like price at $11.11. I just need to sit down and record and finish the details, but that's coming. So,
oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. Yeah. So maybe it's like you finish that, you launch it for a week, and then you launch the next thing. Like for people that are at around 10K months or under, I would say like launching one thing at a time is the best for you. And then move on to the next thing just so you can really put your focus there. And then I'll give everyone this little tip. Like when you're launching, you're going to feel annoying, but you're not annoying. Like people are not actually paying attention to the thing that you're launching as much as you're paying attention to it. So I'm promoting Alignment Academy so much, but I doubt anyone's like, God, she's talking about this so much. Like they're probably just clicking through it and like maybe they read it sometimes, but you just have to be okay being annoying. So
yeah. And also, so the post that I talked about last week where I like worked on being seen, I did get one conversation for a potential one-on-one client out of that. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to actually just promote your work. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Okay. Thank you.
Love you, Aid.
Love you.
Thank you, Brianna. Next we have Allison McKay. Hi, Queen.
Hey, Queen.
Hi, Queens. I'm loving this. Thank you for all of this. I'm so glad I joined.
Yay.
My question is really short and really tangible, and I'm pretty sure we already talked about it, but I just
okay. Let's do it.
So, like, I have this fire thought, and then I go to record it somewhere, and I'm like, oh, does this belong in my stories, or do I make a TikTok? And like, I love what you said about making a million TikToks a week and then like repurposing that to Instagram. But like, when do you pull out your Instagram story recorder versus TikTok? I always get caught up on that, and then it just goes, I post it nowhere.
Okay, this is a good question. I literally had this conversation with my one-on-one client today. So when I have an idea, the truth is that it can be anything. If you have a good concept, it can be a reel, it can be a story, it can be a written post, right? It doesn't really matter because it's valuable anywhere. And typically people just need to be for you to like, they just need to build trust with you, and it doesn't really matter where. So honestly, there's some coaches that are going to tell you like one piece of content 5 ways. And I love that. Like, they're like, you can make an infographic with it. Then the next week you can make it an email. Then the next week you can make it a reel. And the next week, and it's like one concept all the way. So honestly, Allison, the answer is it doesn't really matter. Put it somewhere. That's the truth. That's the truth. And I was even showing this to my client. She was like, how do you make content? I was like, okay, I'll show you the behind the scenes of my content. Like I literally was like, when I have an idea, which is usually in a very, very annoying time, like when I'm in the shower or right before I'm about to fall asleep, I get so many ideas for content. I have a notes in my document, or I have a notes document where like, this is a great example of like a thought that's not finished yet. It's like 5 things to remember when you're healing from people pleasing. And I could only think of one because I was going to bed, but I was like, you know what? Even though I can only think of one, I'm just going to write this topic down and I'll make a post on it later. And this, I don't know if it's going to be an infographic. I don't know if it's going to be a reel. I don't know if it's going to be 2 things to remember when you're doing people pleasing. It's going to be like a story. I don't know, but I have the concept. And then when I'm ready to go make something and I need an idea, I'll come to my notes and I'll do other things. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll decide where it needs to go. There's no right answer because the truth is that like you are the creator. Like you can make it whatever you want.
Do you ever take your TikToks and just post them on your stories and then also?
No, like I'll say I do that like 5% of time because I feel like people can tell that you're like being a little lazy, and like I really want to build trust in my stories. And so, and I like it to sound like a story. I really do try to like be active with you on there where it doesn't always just like look like curated stuff that I'm doing ahead of time and not like really live with you. So I don't just take TikToks and make them stories typically, but I do make stories and make them TikToks because I think that that's the translation that can go, but I don't think it can go really the other way personally.
Yeah, I feel you. Okay. Catch me on my stories and my feed and TikTok. Thank you.
See you, Queen. All right, guys. Was this good, guys? Was this helpful? Did you like it? I feel like we literally touched on every topic we ever could. So, yay. Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I love you guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being present, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.